Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to İLKE Foundation. We are here today to discuss a very important topic, the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Zionist threat. With Ramadan just around the corner, now I think it's perfect time to discuss this situation. As we've seen, unfortunately, Zionist attacks on Al-Aqsa Mosque each year during this period. May Allah protect Beitul Maqdis and prevent Zionist aggression. I pray that Masjid Al-Aqsa gains its freedom as soon as possible. First, I would like to introduce Ahmet Said Öner, the chairman of our İLKE Foundation, deliver his welcome speech. Please join me welcoming Ahmet Said Öner.
Selamünaleyküm. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. İlke Vakfı olarak az önce tanıtım filminde gerekli vakfımızın faaliyetlerine dair tanıtımlar yapıldığı için ben oraya girmeden kısaca selamlamak istiyorum. Bugün burada Mescid-i Aksa'nın geleceği ve Siyonist tehlike üzerine inşallah Khalid Al-Awaisi ile birlikte olacağız. Canlı yayında bu program yayınlanacak. Biz yakın zamanda vakıf olarak boykot raporunu çıkardık. Yine Filistin'in görünümü raporunu çıkardık. Her iki raporumuz da bugüne kadar alanda toplanmamış verileri toplayarak kamuoyuyla paylaşılan raporlardı. Elbette ki bizimkisi böyle karınca misali olarak ifade edebileceğim bir katkı olarak kabul edilebilir. Filistin davası, Gazze davası çok daha büyük muharrik güçlerin bir araya gelmesiyle aslında konuşulması ve aynı zamanda çözülmesi gereken bir mesele olarak karşımızda duruyor. Elbette Siyonist İsrail eşittir korku imparatorluğudur ve bir avuç Müslüman, bir avuç mümin bugün Gazze'de bu korku imparatorluğunun balonunu patlatmış durumda. Müslümanların zihinlerindeki korkunun giderilmesi, söküp atılmasıyla beraber peyderpey aydınlığın karanlığa galebe çalması gibi elbette Müslümanlar da galebe çalacaklardır. Buna olan inancımız tam. Fakat ve aynı zamanda bu meseleleri düşünmek, bu meseleler üzerine ciddi adımlar atmak ve işbirliklerini geliştirmeye de ihtiyaç var. Taha Abdurrahman 1967 Arap-İsrail Savaşı'nda büyük Arap camiasının küçük olarak ifade edilecek İsrail'le karşı yenilgisi karşısında şaşkınlığını gizleyemiyor ve benim şiiri bıraktığım gün o gündür diyor. Arap düşünceye kafa yormaya başladım diyor. Bir güç de düşüncedir, fikirdir. Bütün bunları bir araya getirmemiz ve birlikteliklerimizi buralar üzerinden gerçekleştirmemiz gerekiyor. Bugün Trump'ın söylemleri olsun, küresel sistemlerin el birliği haline gelmesi olsun, Gazze üzerindeki hesaplar maalesef ortada ve İslam dünyasının, Müslümanların Gazze'nin geleceği üzerindeki imkanları, güçleri pek yeterli görülmemekte. Ancak az önce ifade etmiş olduğum önce zihinlerdeki, kalplerdeki iman ile, inanç ile ardından oluşturulacak birliklerle beraber hem Filistin'de bugün bir kukla yönetimine dönmüş Mahmud Abbas yönetimi hem Arap dünyasındaki kukla yönetimlerle beraber İslam dünyasında ve gayrimüslimlerin devletlerindeki gerek Müslüman halklar gerek vicdanlı halklarında inşallah uyanmasıyla, el birliğiyle biz Gazze'ye, Mescid-i Aksa'ya gireceğimiz günleri ayan beyan olarak görüyoruz. O günlerin bizlere nasip olmasını da temenni ediyor ve dua ediyoruz. Çok şey söylenecek ama o kürsüde şu anda ben değil, Khalid Al-Awaisi bulunacak. Ben bu vesileyle, bu duygularla hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum. Hoş geldiniz, ayaklarınıza sağlık.
We are honored to have Dr. Khalid Al-Awaisi with us today. He will begin with a presentation followed by a Q&A session. I encourage you to ask your questions Inshallah, this seminar will be more engaging and meaningful, inshallah. Let me introduce Khalid Al-Awaisi. Dr. Khalid Al-Awaisi is a graduate of pioneering field of Islamic Jerusalem studies, having received his PhD from the University of Aberdeen. His main specialization is historical geography of Bayt al-Maqdis and the geographical interpretation of the Quran. He has taught at a number of Turkish and British universities and was appointed as a director of Center of Islamic Jerusalem Studies in UK. Currently, he is working at the Department of Islamic History at the Social Science University of Ankara. Please join me welcoming Dr. Awaisi. Floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. First of all, thank you very much for hosting me here at İLKE Foundation, and it's an honor to be with you here tonight as Ramadan is starting to talk about a very important topic that is related to not just the Palestinians, but the whole of the Muslim Ummah. As we start to talk about the situation, we cannot skip what has happened over the last year and a half in Gaza and the genocide that is taking place and continues to take place in Gaza and in the West Bank and in the rest of Palestine. And the people of Gaza are paying a very heavy price for defending Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. They are paying it with their souls, they are paying it with their wealth, they are paying it with their property. And just one example, a 12-year-old girl coming from underneath the rubble saying, I hadn't become a shaheed. Had I become a shaheed, it would have been worth it for Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. The Zionist soldiers are complaining that every house in Gaza that they have entered has a picture of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and they are destroying these pictures because they do not want this connection. But to talk about what is happening and the occupation of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, we will give a background into what has happened, and then we will bring it up to the current situation, and then the future pending on where we have come to. Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa has been part of the Aqidah of the Muslims before the time of even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I mean this in the context that Islam did not start with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Islam is the religion of all the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So within the issue of Aqidah, the situation of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, it was the Qibla of the prophets before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thus it became the Qibla of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, it was the second mosque built on earth. As in the hadith of Bukhari, what is the first mosque built on earth? Al-Masjid Al-Haram, the Kaaba. The second is Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. So it is the second center of Tawheed or monotheism in the world. The Sahaba liberated it within 5 years of the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it stayed in Muslim hands from that time until the Crusades, until 1099 on the 15th of July, when the Crusaders massacred tens of thousands of Muslims as they occupied Bayt al-Maqdis. Then Salah ad-Din liberated it, with the exception of two instances. It stayed in Muslim hands until 1917. In 1917, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, Bayt al-Maqdis, Palestine, was brought under British occupation. General Allenby, who took the city, proclaimed that the Crusades have ended. As he has taken, invoking the idea of the crusade as he stood outside the citadel of Al-Quds. Ever since, the Palestinians have been resisting the occupation, starting with the British occupation, who set the foundation for the occupation, the Zionist occupation that continued later on, starting with the Nabi Musa revolution in the 1920s, followed by the Buraq revolution or a revolt. And Al-Buraq revolt was associated with Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa because the Zionists wanted to take part of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, which is Al-Buraq wall, which to Jews was not holy until the end of the Ottoman period. So the Jews have never perceived Al-Buraq wall to be holy, or what is known as the Western Wall, until the Ottoman period. This is within the Jewish encyclopedias and their writings. And then it became the holiest today to the Jews. So they claim it to be part of what they call a temple. However, there is no evidence for this in terms of Jewish literature or within archaeological and architectural design of that particular wall. And we saw, following the Buraq revolt, the martyrdom of three prominent Palestinian figures, Muhammad Jamjoom, Fuad Hijazi, and Ata Zir. And this was followed later on by the martyrdom of Sheikh Izzuddin al-Qassam, who, in a sense, looking at the earthquake that hit Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa in the early 20s, the 1920s, he says Hajj Amin al-Husseini wanted to repair Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and Allenby said he is willing to put an advert in the Times newspaper and raise the money from the British public. However, Sheikh Izzuddin al-Qassam was against the renovation of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, saying, if we lose Palestine, what is the purpose of beautifying or restoring the area of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa? What is more important? You use this money to fight the occupation, meaning here the British occupation. And then he has become a martyr, Sheikh Izzuddin al-Qassam, and his legacy still lives on today. In the 1936, the treachery of Arab leaders ended the 1936 revolt in 1939. And then we see the Zionists continuing their plans with the Nakba. The Nakba didn't take place over 1 year or 1 day, as many people believe, but actually the Nakba took place over from 1947 till 1949. So it was a continuous process of ethnically cleansing Palestinians from their villages, from their towns, from every place that they were in. And in this, the Zionists tried to occupy the city of Bayt al-Maqdis, Al-Quds, Jerusalem in 1948. However, they failed. They occupied the majority of British Jerusalem, over 80%, 84%, and 14%, including Al-Aqsa, stayed in the hands of Palestinians governed by the Jordanians. When did Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa fall into the Zionist hands? In 1967, with the Zionist soldiers taking over Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and raising the Israeli flag over the Dome of the Rock. Their celebrations with Moshe Dayan walking into Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and this particular rabbi. And this rabbi, Shlomo Goran, they went to Al-Buraq wall. During the 19 years that they were not in Jerusalem, from 1948 until 1967, Al-Buraq wall, or the Western Wall of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, became a Jewish national and religious symbol. Before that, it was not. It became a national and religious symbol, and many Israeli academics have written on this particular matter. Why this person is important? Because he is the what we might call him the godfather of religious Zionism. And what he has done, he suggested blowing up Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and destroying the Dome of the Rock on the day that they occupied the city in 1967. And he said, this is our chance. If we do not do it now, we will never be able to do it. And it's a long conversation that he had with the general. And he blew, going back to the previous image, you can see his pictures here at Al-Buraq wall, blowing the shofar, being carried by the soldiers as they occupied. And this is his image inside the Dome of the Rock with the Torah in his hand. So what he was suggesting is blowing up the Dome of the Rock and Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa with a few hundred kilograms of TNT. You need to understand that within Israeli societies, you have two different identities: a religious Zionist identity, and to simplify it, and a secular identity, Zionist identity. And these identities sometimes merge, or sometimes they do clash. And sometimes one is at the forefront and one is at the backstage. But what we see today in particular, we see religious Zionism is leading this Zionist state in every direction. In the army, in the judiciary, in politics and in the government, they have taken over this. At this time, secular Jews were not interested in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, although Ben Gurion has mentioned that there is no meaning to Israel without Jerusalem, and there is no meaning to Jerusalem without the temple. Someone, a secular Jew, saying this is quite interesting. However, what we see here, the two individuals in this picture, Ozzy Narkes and Shlomo Shlomo Goren. What we see is this discussion whether we should blow the Dome of the Rock up or not, and the generals in the army were against this. And going back to the earlier picture here of Moshe Dayan, he met with the people of the Awqaf, and he said to them, we will leave everything as it is. You will control what is inside Al-Aqsa, so the Jordanian Awqaf will continue to do this, and the outside will be controlled by the Israelis. However, in 1967, the Israeli army took control of one of the gates of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and Al-Buraq wall. So technically, they have control over everything outside Al-Aqsa, including the walls, and the Magharibi gate, plus there was a police station for Israeli police inside Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. So all of this, putting this, all of this together, Israel decided to keep the status quo as it was inside Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. The Muslims can continue to worship, and the ruling in reality of the chief rabbi of Israel at the time was that Jews are not allowed to enter Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, the whole area at that time known as Al-Haram Al-Sharif. The reason is, and we will come to more details into this, and this was placed on top of the Magharibi gate. It says, according to the Torah, entry to this area is forbidden. So this ruling actually continues until today. However, what changed we will come to. Jews were allowed to enter Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa as tourists, but not to perform worship. So this has changed today. This is, we see a big difference, but this is still the official ruling of the chief rabbinate of Israel, that Jews are not allowed to enter the area of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Something else that took place, as they took over Al-Buraq wall, they destroyed the whole of the neighborhood in front of it, which is known as the Magharibi quarter, or the Magharibi neighborhood. 135 houses, the madrasas, the jama, the mosques in that neighborhood were all completely destroyed within 1 week of the occupation of the old city of Jerusalem. This is waqf property. This is from the time of the son of Salah ad-Din al-Afdal, who made this as a waqf on the Magharib Mujahideen who came from North Africa to this place. The second attack on Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa following 1967 was done by a Christian Zionist. And here you need to differentiate between Jewish Zionism and Christian Zionism. We talked about two different identities to simplify it within Jewish Zionism. But Christian Zionism, if you put today every 10 Zionists in the world, 9 of them are Christian Zionists. This is the danger of Christian Zionism today in the United States and in the West over Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa is extremely dangerous. And in 1967, a Christian Zionist said that within 4 years of the occupation of the old city, the Messiah is going to come. And for the Messiah to come, we have to destroy Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And in 1969, the burning of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa was done by an Australian Christian Zionist who, on the 21st of August 1969, burnt Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa with the help, obviously, of the Zionist state, not officially, obviously. The burning took the minbar of Nur ad-Din Zinki, or the minbar of Salah ad-Din, and it destroyed Al-Jami' Al-Aqsa, the southern structure within Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. A third of it was very badly damaged. And there was many attacks on Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa over the years. In the 1980s, there was attempts to blow up the Dome of the Rock. And there was Al-Aqsa massacre that took place in the 1990s, where putting the foundation stone for the temple was the instigation of the massacre in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa in the 1990s, where Israeli police and army fired live ammunition at people while inside Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And the idea, this was the Temple Mount Faithful group who wanted to place the foundation stone for the building of the Jewish temple. And this, we will come to this issue. There is different visions for this temple that they're talking about. Part of this is also weakening the foundation of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and tunnels have been dug underneath Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Excavations have been taking place by the Israeli establishment since 1967. And this has not stopped, and this continues, and this has led to the weakening of the foundations of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Some of these tunnels are natural tunnels. However, some of them have been dug, and Sheikh Ra'ad Salah in the 1990s exposed many of these tunnels underneath Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Coming to the 2000s, I'm skipping the history, running through it very quickly to come to the current situation. The Aqsa Intifada that took place in 2000 with Ariel Sharon entering Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and this instigated, and you can see Al-Aqsa is always at the foundation of the Palestinian struggle. This led to a massive intifada across the whole of Palestine that continued for many years. For many years, the occupation has been blocking Muslims from entry into Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and restricting who can enter and who cannot enter, attacking people in the month of Ramadan. You have seen over the last few years the attacks that have taken place, and the only people who have managed to stop this, and in 1969, when we talked about the burning of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, OIC was set up. OIC was set up for the defending Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, the Organization of Islamic Conference, and later on cooperation, was established to defend Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. However, they have failed, and Muslim states have unfortunately failed in doing this. And the only people who have really defended Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa are the people in Jerusalem, the Palestinians in 1948 and the Palestinians in the West Bank. And today, over the last few years, the Palestinians living in Gaza. There is many examples of a struggle where the Zionists have tried to implement what they call a temporal and a spatial division within Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. The temporal division has already been established, but in the after the 2000, after the Intifada, Al-Aqsa was blocked to tourists and Israeli settlers entry for a number of months, and it extended to 2002. Later on, this changed, and now they enter under Israeli protection, Israeli police and army protection. And this then developed into having specific times for their entry in the morning and in the afternoon. And they were not allowed to conduct any rituals within Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. So any Jewish rituals was banned and not allowed. So they can only enter as visitors. However, particularly in 2016, this started to shift. With the ascent of religious Zionism within the Israeli government, this started to shift, and we see this changing dramatically within Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Initially, anyone conducting any form of Jewish ritual within Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa will be arrested by the Israeli police and taken out of the masjid. Now this has become well established. The other form of division is the spatial division, and today the eastern part of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa is closed off to Muslim worshippers. Only when Muslims are in great numbers, Israel cannot control this. But generally, if a Muslim would like to go to the eastern area of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, even as a tourist coming from Turkey, and you saw some example of Turkish women being arrested outside the gate of Rahmah. And this, it's been 6 years since the Muslims have broken the chains placed on the gate of Rahmah, and have changed this. And this is not the first time that this happens. In 1996, 1997, the Islamic movement in 1948, they opened the Marwani Musalla, which has been sealed off since 1967, and Al-Aqsa Al-Qadim, because the Zionists wanted to take it over and turn it into a synagogue. The same with the Gate of Rahmah. This was an attempt to try to turn it into a Jewish place of worship within Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. We move to a further stage, which is the closing of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa in 2019, closing it off to Muslim worshippers for 2 weeks, and placing these metal detectors, and the Jerusalemites gathering in their tens of thousands forced the Israelis to remove these metal detectors, and they were the protectors of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. So after Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa has been sealed off, they managed to break the siege on Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and re-enter it again. The final stage coming to it is Donald Trump's last term in office, where he announced that Jerusalem will be the eternal capital of not Israel, of the Jewish people. Not just of Israel, but also of Jewish people. And he said what every American president said before him: he will move the embassy to Jerusalem, and he did. Part of the deal of the century was something very dangerous about Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And it is this statement. And if you read it, this is part of the text of the deal of the century, and this is extremely dangerous on Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. What is it is suggesting that Israel has been doing a very good job. It goes into Israel has been the custodian of all places of worship for everyone. But what it suggests that should be done is the area of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa should be open, permitted for every faith, should be permitted to pray on using the Zionist terminology, on the Temple Mount / Haram al-Sharif, in a manner that is fully respectful to their religion, taking into account the times of each religion's prayers and holidays, as well as other religious factors. This text is extremely dangerous, more dangerous than saying Palestinian refugees are not allowed to re-enter, more dangerous than anything else in the document is this particular sentence. And this is the basis that the current American government will be working towards. What this is suggesting is an example that is already implemented in the Mosque of Ibrahim in Al-Khalil in Hebron, which after the massacre in 1994 in the month of Ramadan, where we just in the month of February, so about 32 years ago, the mentor, sort of speak, of religious Zionism, Goldstein, he walks, a doctor, an American Jewish doctor, walks into the people while they are in the morning prayer and shoots down 29 Palestinians in the month of Ramadan in the Masjid of Al-Khalil. Israel closed off the Mosque of Al-Khalil for 6 months, and when it reopened it, 60% of the mosque was dedicated to Jewish prayer. And in Jewish holidays, Muslims are not allowed to enter. The Israeli president comes and celebrates Jewish holidays inside, and you've seen the videos of them dancing and the music inside the Masjid of Ibrahim alayhi salam in Jewish holidays. This text is suggesting that the same should be done for Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And this is the danger that is coming out of this. Ever since the deal of the century, Israel has upped the game with regarding to Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Jewish prayer, which was not allowed inside Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, has now become a norm. Israeli settlers would come inside Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa earlier. They would just sit without committing any or conducting any form of worship. Today, they conduct their forms of worship under, and the guards of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa aren't even allowed to be present while they are doing so. Things changed in 2021 when the attack in the month of Ramadan took place, and you all remember what happened in the month of Ramadan. On the night of Qadr, the morning of it, Israeli soldiers, to allow a few tens of settlers to enter Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, they were willing to evacuate out of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa not 1 or 10 or 20 Palestinian Muslims. They were willing to evacuate tens of thousands of Muslims outside the mosque. The people in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, the Muslims worshipping there, asked help from 2 places. One was Gaza, the resistance in Gaza, and 2, they asked help from Turkey. Why did they not ask the rest of the Muslim world? Because they have already lost hope in the rest of the Muslim world. Particularly Arab leaders, there is no hope in them. So there is no need to revive someone that is dead on this particular issue. And the 28th of Ramadan 2021, the resistance in Gaza, with all its factions, gave Israel until 6 in the evening to evacuate its soldiers from Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, to release all the prisoners that have been imprisoned, and to cancel the march around the city. Israel thought it was a bluff. By 6 o'clock, what happened is missiles were launched from Gaza even into Jerusalem, and Israel immediately launched an offensive on Gaza, and the resistance called it Sayf Al-Quds, the sword of Al-Quds, and it continued for a short time before it was brought to a halt, making the Israeli government take a step back on Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. However, the following Ramadan, you have seen in Ramadan 2022, the attacks on the worshippers. Has this happened anywhere else in the world? An attack in a holy place. And you have seen this when a synagogue was attacked in Paris. All world leaders went and marched together in support, in solidarity with the Jews in France. No place of worship should be ever attacked. And this attack on Islam's holiest site in the holiest month of Ramadan is something unacceptable. And this, the ineffectiveness of the Muslim world in this regard is unfortunately pathetic. Ramadan 2023, another attack on Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and you have seen the attacks, and Israel puts it in the pretext of various contexts that extremists have taken over Al-Aqsa and so on and so forth. This narrative that they try to put forward. Before Ramadan 2024, and Ramadan 2024 is the only time that this hasn't taken place in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, because before the month of Ramadan, there was the operation on the 7th of October, the Tufan of Al-Aqsa, named after Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And just a week before the 7th of October, what happened at the gates of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa was a disgrace to the whole of the Muslim world. Aida Sidawi was kicked in the face by Israeli settlers. Incursions into Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa was taking place. It was getting really bad during the Jewish religious holidays. And the Tufan of Al-Aqsa took place a week later. And this was part of the narrative of the resistance, that they have taken this, they have done this operation for the protection of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa because of what was taking place inside Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Coming to what the Zionists, both Christian and Jewish Zionists, are planning for Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa since its occupation, is the idea of replacing Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa with a Jewish temple. And this is part of the narrative that they are trying to present, that over the site of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, a Jewish temple needs to be built. Now, Jewish Zionists on this regard have two opinions. One, which is the majority of Jews in Palestine, is that this temple is going to come down from the heavens. God is going to build this temple. However, reformist Jewish groups who are making the incursions into Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa against the fatwa, the ruling of the chief rabbi that they should not enter this site, are saying we need to be the hand of God in fulfilling this. And this has to be done by making more incursions into Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And there is something called the impurity of the Jews. The reason for this ruling, why Jews, according to the chief rabbi, should not enter Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, is because the Jews are impure, according to their own religious narrative. And this, what they call najasatul mawta, the najasa of the dead that they have been mixed with, can only be be purified through a red heifer. And this red heifer needs to be 3 years old. It should not have any other colors. And they have been, I've listened to Sheikh Ra'ad Salah back in the late 90s talking about this within the Jewish narrative for Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And they have tried to find this. However, they have failed. Now they have Christian Zionists in the United States have genetically modified these red heifers, and they have been shipped over to Israel. They're being kept in a particular location. And this minister took his children to see these red heifers. This is part of the Israeli government, a minister within the Israeli government, and talking these ministers, he's talking about this openly. So the idea is that once this red heifer is at the age of 3, then it will be presented as an offering, and all its it will be burned, and the ashes of it will be mixed with water to purify the Jews from this impurity that they are in. This would in turn allow the Jews to enter the site of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, not in their tens or their hundreds, in their tens of thousands, because this particular ruling will no longer be valid, and that's why the majority of Jews do not enter the site of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa because of this particular ruling. If this is implemented, then they would be able to enter. Coming to the conclusion, into the future of in the next 5 minutes. The future of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, with Trump now coming into the second term, is at a very critical stage, particularly with Netanyahu failing to achieve the goals of this war on Gaza. He has turned to the West Bank and to particularly the camps in Jenin and Tul Karam and other parts of the West Bank, where the genocide hasn't stopped in Gaza after the ceasefire. It is continuing within the area of the area of the West Bank. One area that Netanyahu would want maybe to score some achievement in the West Bank in one side, the other side would be in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And this Ramadan could be the most dangerous Ramadan for Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Already the Israeli government is talking about restricting, they've already put the restrictions on who can enter Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa during the month of Ramadan. Already they're talking about a number of measures to restrict the number of people entering Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa this month of Ramadan, increasing the presence of soldiers and police within the mosque. And this could repeat what we have seen in the Ramadans before the 7th of October. Looking at the future of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, we can look at it from a number of angles. One is the religious prophecies. So within the Jewish and the Christian Zionist vision is that Al-Aqsa needs to be destroyed. For Christian Zionists, it is for the second coming of Christ. Jews need to be moved to Palestine. So this is something that has developed over the last 200 years. Jews need to be taken back to Palestine. A state needs to be established for them. Jerusalem should be in their hand. The last stage in this vision of Christian Zionism is a building of a Jewish temple over the site of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Within Jewish Zionism, we have also the belief in the return of the Messiah, but from a very different perspective. However, Christian and Jewish Zionism are, in turn, the end goal is different. However, there is an alliance between Christian and Jewish Zionism today, although most Christian Zionists are actually anti-Semitic. And their end goal, and this is in their own wording, is that when the Messiah comes, there will be a greater Holocaust than the Holocaust that Hitler has done. And only Jews who believe in Jesus will be saved. And the idea of all this idea is extremely dangerous. Within Israeli, within Israeli and Jewish Zionist thought, they also see themselves as a superior race, and they see themselves with the return of the Messiah changing the future. Within the Islamic vision, it's rather different. But as we are running out of time, within there is a prophecy that Jews have, which is called the curse of the 80 years. And they believe that this state, this Zionist state, will not survive 80 years. And Netanyahu, in discussion with rabbis and religious figures, he says that he will extend the life of this state to 100 years. So they know themselves that this state is, although they are planning for Armageddon, both Christian and Jewish Zionists talking about this within their own narrative, the situation where we are heading is a very dangerous one, with both the American government, with all Trump's his ambassador to Israel on one side, his foreign minister, and a lot of the evangelists within his government. We are coming at a very critical stage in the life of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And this, together with the what was suggested at the deal of the century, we have a number of scenarios developing that could mean the loss of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And the only way forward is, and I will finish with this, the people in Palestine have paid, particularly the people of Gaza, over the last 16 months, have paid a very heavy price for Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And the Ummah seems to be like the son of Nuh. When the flood of Nuh took place, his son said to him, I will go and watch from a distance. And the Ummah today is at this stage where we are sitting on a top of a mountain, watching what is happening without having any effective changing the course of events in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. What I started with, and this is what I will want to end with, is that Al-Aqsa is not a Palestinian mosque. Al-Aqsa is the mosque of every Muslim around the world. And just like the Kaaba, if Muslims would not accept the destruction of the Kaaba, they should all work together to end the occupation over Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Within international law, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa is occupied land. And this is where we need to put our hands together and knowing that knowledge is at the basis of this battle. And where we are heading today, if the Ummah does not take its responsibilities, this could be the destruction of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And this is why, in terms of Turkey, in terms of the Muslim world, in terms of the world at large, Al-Aqsa is back on the agenda since the Tufan of Al-Aqsa. We need to capitalize on this and to be able to put a strategy for the liberation of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and ending the occupation in Al-Aqsa and in Palestine. Thank you very much for listening attentively. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.